Imposter with
Steph.
and Jay. Hope everyone is doing just fabulously today, or whatever day it is that you're listening or watching this. I hope that day is just an amazing day for you. How you doing, Steph?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Jay.
Your hair looks fabulous, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Shelby Weatherholtz.
Today was hair day for Steph. Um, so, but you don't know when we recorded this, so you don't know what day that is. Um, anyway, so this week I'm back in the city, and Steph is in Pennsylvania. I'm coming back soon because I don't like it when she's not here, or I don't like it when we're not in the same place. I don't particularly care where she is as long as I'm also in that same place. So, yeah, that's coming up soon. And yeah, just gonna hit it again. Thank you for the weather. Saying thank you to the weather gods for this. We're doing good, and I'm happy, and I'm enjoying it. And I don't like that it's getting darker. I don't like, as much as I'm a night person and a day person. I don't like this getting darker early, and yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I know, right? I mean, this I don't. This has got to change. They're going to stop this eventually, right? Of like changing the clocks. Isn't that happening?
I mean, I think they speak about that, but, they've been talking about that as long as I've been alive, I feel like.
Yeah, it's. I mean, but I hear more and more people talking about it. Like it's just silly. Like it was something from like a long, long, long time ago, and it kind of just doesn't make any sense anymore. Anyway, I think we should probably just dive in to our topics of the week.
Dive in.
Wow. Okay, Steph the swimmer. So you're just teasing me because I can't swim. I get
Oh,
it.
no, no, no. I'm not teasing you.
No,
I don't tease you.
you don't. I'm
Maybe you think
teasing.
I do, but I don't.
I'm teasing myself. No, I don't think you tease me. No, I think I don't. No, I don't think you tease me. I don't. I don't think you do. I think you may laugh at some of the things that I do because they're hilarious, but that's not teasing.
Except for your jokes. You
No,
are
my joke.
serious, but when you're
No,
trying
my
to be
no,
funny
my
to
joke.
something else, you're like,
My
that's a
jokes.
joke.
No, my jokes are hilarious. Like it's
Okay.
okay. It's,
All right.
it's okay. I mean, the fact that you don't get all of them, that's not on me. But it's okay. It's okay. It's just it works. We somehow find that balance, and it's just beautiful. However it lands, even when the joke isn't funny, there's still a connection there. So it doesn't really matter.
This is true.
So someone is getting that joke somewhere.
Yes.
Just saying.
Even if it's just you.
And the many people that live inside my head. Yes. So on that note, let's talk about cultural capital and what we consume versus what shapes us. I know that's a mouthful, but general point is, culture is a big thing. We talk about culture. What does it mean? And Steph, I'm going to let you kind of start off because I know this is something we've talked about, and I know we've had some really good conversations about it, and I'd love to hear more. And about
Yeah. No, culture. Culture is a big thing. I mean, you know, I'm into culture. I absorb it. I buy into it. I A lot of my life revolves around taking in culture. As an artist, I create things that are part of culture, with my fashion brand and with the art that I make and put out there into the world. You know, it's all part of culture, and I do believe it shapes us. I think when just as an example, me previously living in Wyomissing only for a very long time. Um, the culture I was able to get would be culture I would see other places. I mean, there is culture in small towns, of course, but you are limited to the amount of culture and also the types of culture. Recently I had a girl came over to visit me and to brainstorm with me about some fundraising she has to do for a local art institute. And she just wanted to pick my brain because I live part time in New York City. And, for her, as someone who only lives here but wants to do things that are going to bring, more energy to the fundraising she's doing locally. She wants to know what they're doing in New York City, what the culture is propagating, and she wanted to pick my brain so that I could help her bring some of that back here and make their fundraising a little bit more exciting. So, I think that culture shapes, I know for me, I'm out there seeing art, so it shapes the work I do. You know, um,
So, what? How do you define culture? Like, what? When you use the word culture, like, what does that mean to you?
yeah, I guess what I'm speaking right now of is, the things that creative people are making out in the world as part of their job or just part of their passion, what they're doing in their pastime. So, I'm looking at art. So that could
So
be,
it's not a type of person. It's not like people from the north, people from the south. People like so you're not seeing it like that. You're saying as an individual, what they do that contributes to culture. Like that's their culture.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the things that random people make and do is part of culture.
Right.
And
Because
then the other
people
type
kind of
of culture, like going to Italy and Italian culture, that's I think a more all encompassing, like looking at a place and seeing all the things that they do. That's a different way of describing culture.
right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think so. So that's kind of where it's a little tricky for me. I know we've talked about this topic, and that's kind of where there's I think generally speaking, people think of culture by like a group of people, right? So there's culture, there's Hispanic culture, there's Latin culture, there's Asian culture, there's, different religious culture, stuff like that. And that's one way. But then on the other hand, each person is their own person, their own individual person. So whatever they're creating artistically, using that in a very broad sense, contributes to culture, right? So like you can pick whatever group you want, and I don't want to pick on somebody, and so I'm going to just say let's say there's purple. Let's say the purple culture, right? People that are part of the purple culture. So there's the general thing of the purple culture, but an individual within that grouping of people is helping to create that culture, which is helping it evolve and change over time. And I think that's the interesting part about this conversation because where are we as a society with that? Like there's just different people that are like, oh, that's not okay anymore, or that is the way we do things now, and that's affecting culture, and that's affecting if people feel like what they're doing is going to be totally shut down. Some people push through that, and they're the ones, the rebels, and they're the ones who really move the needle. But a lot of people probably feel like, oh, I better not do that because it's going to get shut down. And so I think it's a little, we're in a complicated place right now with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, look at a very recent example of Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, if you want to go there, of like what he does is part of culture, and
Well, is he
yeah,
part of culture or is he part of culture as a comedian or a talk show host, or is he guiding culture by the guests that he puts on and the types of conversations or by the things he says, or is he just reporting on culture as an objective person and showing us like, well, here's this music person and here's this art person and here's this other that's also I think an interesting
I
question.
mean, I think he's doing all three.
Okay.
I think as individuals, we make things, and that is part of culture. Whether I'm part of an Italian American group or an American group or female found, like we can put ourselves in so many buckets. But that's just really not how I look personally at culture, because I look at everything as being like we're part of each other. We're humans on this one planet, and in this area they do this, in this area they do this, in this area they do this, they eat this, they live like this. But I feel like as the world is getting more, globalized, I don't even know, is that a word?
It,
um,
it is.
it's it's blending, a lot of culture is blending. And I think maybe a little bit of that is why some people they don't want to see the blending. They want to keep things separate in some ways. So I think that, it's a very broad topic, and it can get a little confusing for sure. Um, but the way I am looking at it, I'm looking at it more, we're all people, we all do things. Even if you don't even realize that you're contributing to culture, you may be contributing to culture without even trying.
Yeah. So I think you're kind of pointing out a bunch of interesting things as you usually do, but I think one from a generally speaking, and two, not to plug us, but in context of what this show is about, or this whatever this is called, because we're kind of
Pickles
sharing
Imposter.
our whatever. It's a thing that we do every once in a while, and some people like it and they laugh and they send me funny messages. But it's how we interpret that and how that affects how we do things, and that's all it is. It's not a right or wrong, but
Right.
just because everybody is saying this, we can say, okay, well, actually, we interpret it this way, and by interpreting this thing or this topic or whatever, not right or wrong, but right, let's say for us, or sometimes wrong for us, that's how we then do what we do, and that's a part of what it is. So that's kind of the idea, is that people can see from a different perspective, stuff like that. So you know when we've talked about this, and just listening to you now, culture from your perspective is some sort of creative energy that kind of goes out into the universe in a with different things, right? There's this type of culture, that type of that culture, but it's that sort of a thing. Like manufacturing of a product is not culture for you.
No.
Creating art is culture for you, and this type of art is this type of culture, and this type of art is this type of culture. Music is part of culture for you. Fashion is part of culture for you. Movies is part of
Food,
culture for you. Food, yeah.
food, events, surroundings, like the
Yeah.
environment can be part of culture. This is the way we do things. And, like New York is a culture just based on the logistics and the way it's set up and the neighborhoods. Like there's culture attached to that. Like these are nuanced things. But, when you think about just New York City, for example, you think about that and you get a visual. I'm like, oh, well, there's Greenwich Village, then there's Upper West Side, and then there's the Met. And like, you conjure up an image of all the culture.
Yeah. So, you know me and not believing in coincidences and everything like that. So we come up with these topics and then I don't really think about it, and then we do the show and then I don't really think about it either. But so earlier today, um, actually not long before this podcast, you'll see why this affects culture. So I had another meeting with a guy that I've become friends with, who I met at a People of Color in Technology event, which there's this group called Pocket, and it was during Tech Week in New York, and I met this guy, and we just randomly, during this networking part of it, we just met, and he was a tall guy, and I'm reasonably tall. I'm not sure, but whatever.
Yeah.
He's definitely taller than I am, and we just connected. He's not from here. He's from California for sure. I think North California, San Francisco. I think, but whatever. He's from California. Very nice guy. We started talking about New York, and like how he was saying that New York, he's having a harder time connecting with people or making friends here. And I said, well, that's weird because New York is really a great place to make friends. And just something about him that I just liked. He was in the gaming industry, so somewhat adjacent, but I'm not really that deep in there. But I'm part of that. And he was doing this book and this film thing. He's doing a very interesting thing. So I just kind of like, listen, I'll connect with this guy. And so we met one time. He came to our neighborhood. I had coffee with him here. A couple of tried to meet, didn't work out. We finally met. It was great. And then I just met him today again. And now you're going to get to the culture part. So, okay, so I'm white, although I'm Jewish, so not really white. He's black. He's from California. His mother is Christian. His father is Muslim. He is Muslim. We couldn't be more aligned than I can't even tell you how many. I'm so aligned. We're so aligned on so many things. It's just really beautiful. But we met at Atelier Jolie, which is
Oh, okay.
Angelina Jolie's place, which is okay. That's one part. So to get there, I took the train. No big deal. I get off of the train at the. If anybody's from New York or has been here, there's the basketball courts at West Fourth Street, which are intense, and actually NBA players go and play there sometimes. It's like that intense. If you haven't seen it, I really recommend going there, whether you like basketball or not. It's just super cool. But that's a culture. That's a real culture.
I
So,
did
and
not
then,
know that NBA players went there.
oh yeah, guys from the Knicks have gone there. The
Oh, that's
Nets,
so
like
cool.
real NBA players go there. Yeah, 100%. Like it's not a joke. And so going there, then I walked through actual Greenwich Village,
Hmm.
passing through NYU and all the students, which is a whole other set of culture. And then I get to this place. I hadn't been there yet. Steph's been there. I haven't been there yet. So it's a super cool place. And you go into this cafe in the back. And in the back, where this cafe is, the place which I didn't know that cafe, actually, they have another one at Chelsea Market, which I didn't know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The one at Chelsea Market has more food. This is more like coffee and like snacks and desserts.
Hmm.
And it's all from immigrants and refugees. So the company is food from Syria, Iran, all different countries throughout Africa, different places, different parts of Africa.
Hmm.
So, I mean, talk about culture. Like we're in the thick of it, like right there. I had a lovely little chat with the guy
And
who was
Basquiat's old studio.
Basquiat's old studio. So it's resonating throughout the whole
Yeah.
place. The energy is just so there. And the guy who was very nice, who sort of was from Russia. Like so, it's all this different thing, and it was a multitude of cultures in there. Like there were
Yeah.
just different people in there, and between the food, and I had a lavender latte, which is different types, not something very traditional. And I had like a cookie that was like an Iranian cookie, and he had a little piece of baklava, and it was just like this like culture explosion in like such a beautiful way. But the space is like white,
Yeah.
like it's like all white, so it's kind of like this clean
Very
slate,
sterile, but like cool.
but not right. It was like sterile, but not like,
Right.
and it was just so to me. I mean, I loved that. Like, I would so go back there. Really, I mean, not just for the cookie. The cookie was fine.
You have to
The
get
other
there
stuff,
early so you get a spot because it's
yeah.
small.
So we got there early. So we got
Oh,
there. So we got there, and there really weren't any spots. There were.
yeah.
So we got a spot. There's like a. It was really funny. Like figuring out our spot was kind of hilarious. Like as we were kind of figuring it out, so it was just really it
Yeah.
was just we just get along. Like I just get along with this guy
Yeah.
like so well. Like it was just so beautiful. But again, we are from very different cultures. Like
Yeah.
he really fell in love with Africa. Like he went to Africa and he's not African
Right.
personally. Like he's born here, but he fell in love South Africa specifically, but just Africa. I mean, he sees himself maybe living there. So, but we're very different on paper. We're different,
Yeah.
but when you throw all that out the door, I mean, we have beautiful conversations about everything, and
Yeah.
it's just,
Beautiful.
yeah, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. I mean, he lives in Brooklyn, and he's so sweet that he invites me, and I'm like, I'm not coming. Like, it's just not
Well,
happening.
you never know,
Uh,
Charlie. You could end up living in Brooklyn
I
someday.
don't, I don't say never. That is theoretically possible. It's also possible we'll live on the moon, or in the middle of the
I
ocean.
don't
And
see you living on the moon. I know.
well, I don't know. I mean, once I, master swimming, I could just go live with the dolphins and penguins, and that could work too. I'm just saying, but
Okay. I don't
anyway.
think dolphins and penguins habitate in the same water.
No, but I'm going to be such a good swimmer that I'm going to be able to go from the dolphins to the penguins. Like I'm going to navigate this. I
Wow.
mean, the penguins are so well dressed,
Yes, they are.
so I'm going to blend in there perfectly. Like
Yeah.
it's a non-starter for me.
I
They're
would
going to be
like
like,
to see
oh,
penguin with
oh,
long
brother
hair.
Jay. They're going to be like brother Jay, but you got to learn. I got to start to walk
Yeah.
like that. I got to do that funny walk. Yeah, I don't do that walk. Anyway, so I just think it's interesting because you know talking to him. I mean, you would have appreciated. I mean, what he's going through with his book and dealing with that and the printer and just all this kind of stuff. So I just think that you're hitting it on the head really about how like the beauty of culture And I think kind of the beauty of this friendship that's evolving is the openness to other cultures and how we can learn from each other. And I think it's important that people be free to be the culture that they are. Like, be what resonates with you. And if it resonates with you to be something else, then do that. If you want to dress that way and that makes gives you an energy and a feeling, and it's not, let's say, traditionally your culture,
Hmm.
okay. Like, I think that's I think that's beautiful. And look, I mean, we talked about it from when we went to that event last week, how everybody was like, meet when we people that you haven't seen or whatever, they're like, oh, you're in New York now. Like, oh, you're in New York now. Like, all of a sudden, because when we're just there, they kind of don't want to know any of that stuff. But once you're like now a little bit removed and you're not there all the time, it's a big deal. They want to know. Like, there's a curiosity to another place, and I think that's lovely.
Well, I think it's great when you can bring back like nice things to a different community that maybe a cultural thing that's happening in another place. I think culture is enriching. It enriches our lives
Yeah,
and it makes us, full of wonder and when you can just appreciate something that you've never experienced before that a different type of person is making or doing or singing or how they how they build houses, how they build their communities. I mean, I think it's just very inspiring.
yeah, yeah. I think you're right. And you think about it, like, I mean, the town that you're from, or pretty much from, or raised in, you on paper you'd be like, oh, it's suburban New York, it's suburban America, but there's German influence, there's Polish influence, there's Italian influence, there's Greek influence. Like, there are these different cultures. I think sometimes
For sure.
they tap them down in these like suburban areas a little bit because they're like they kind of tend to be like, we're not there anymore. But I think you have always been more open to that and open to connecting with that, and I think your mom does that too. Like, she does things that are very traditionally Italian, like things that she just learned, growing up or wherever she got that, how she got that, and yeah, I think it's interesting.
But we carry these different things that we experience from other cultures, into throughout our lives, and there's like a Polish church here that would have like pierogies. I don't know if everybody knows what pierogies are,
I
but they
do, I do.
show little, I guess little treats or little
They're
pockets.
Polish raviolis, right?
Yeah, it's like a ravioli, but they're in a special, like a crescent shape.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're filled with different fillings. And, when I grew up in Shamokin, it was a lot of Polish people there. So that was the first time I ever had a pierogi made by women who were really Polish and like, really came right from Poland. And God, they're delicious.
Like
And
my
then
grandmother.
yeah, and then like here in Wyomissing, there are a lot of Greek people, and they have their Greek festival, and so there's something so beautiful about appreciating the foods that are culturally associated with different countries, and I think that that's really beautiful, and I'm a big fan of culture, honestly. I
Yeah,
don't know what we would do without having freedom in our culture.
yeah.
And I think, freedom to be, the person that you are and to do the things that you grew up with and the things that your grandparents passed down, that's very special. And that's what makes America so great because it's a blend of all these world cultures.
We're all immigrants here.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
said that long before there was any talk about immigrants. I mean, that's the core beauty of this country. Like, there's a lot of great things about this country. I mean, we got to be realistic about it. It's very easy to shit on wherever you are. It's easy to kind of criticize a country, a government, a leader, whatever. That's easy. Anybody can do that. But you step back from that. I mean, there's some great things about this country, and I think every society benefits from going to the things that make that country special or
Mhm.
unique,
Mhm.
and really, really, really pushing that. It makes all the bad stuff kind of, it not doesn't make it go away like just poof like it goes away, but it kind of makes you not want to go there. It
Yeah.
brings you closer together. That
Yeah.
togetherness, that, and I think the more we can work towards that, and I do think culture helps that. Like that little cafe. It's not like I'm promoting them because I can't even remember the name, because you know how I am with names. But that doing that of taking all these different things, but there's something uniform in that all these people are from another place that came here for whatever reason, wherever they had to leave wherever they are, whether it was war or strife or some other negative thing, that they came here for opportunity, and bringing all those different types of foods together as a, it's just, I could have had, okay, granted I like sweets, but I really could have had one of almost everything that was there, because everything was like a little bit interesting, but a little bit different. I mean, the cookie I had was a peanut butter cookie, but not really, not a peanut butter cookie that I would get in America.
Right.
It wasn't. It had a different taste. It looked a little
Yeah.
different. Those things are just really special. And
Yeah.
I love that. I've always loved that. I've
Well, I
always,
mean, there's also this thing too, like in the past few years, I've been going to Italy with my mother and my sisters in the fall for my mom's birthday. We're actually not doing it this year, and we're bummed about it. And think about all the people that love to travel abroad, for example. Like for some people, that is like a trip of a lifetime. Some people like can do that often. Other people, they might get to do that once in their lifetime. And that is probably one of the biggest things they will get to do in their lifetime. And that's about culture. That's about going and immersing yourself in a completely different culture and how special that is to people. So that's an example alone of how important culture is for our well-being.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, listen, we've said it too. Like, you can do something and go someplace and be one and done, and or you can go someplace and say, I really want to come back here. But I think not going, you won't ever know,
Yeah.
and you don't know
Yeah.
what you're going to come back with. You may come back with a different taste that you want to experience in the future, and you may come
Yeah.
back with a different clothing style or type of music or literature. Like, you could find so many different things. So yeah, I'm a huge proponent of that. So
And a lot of times, just, whatever you're doing that's experiencing culture. I mean, it could be walking down the street, but the after effects of experiencing any type of culture can be hard to quantify, because I could see something at an art exhibit, for example. Recently I've been going to see a lot of art, and somehow that experience will come out in my work. I can't exactly quantify it, but it's definitely a real thing. And I think the more you expose yourself to culture, the more chances it has of coming out in the things that you do. And it enriches what we do.
but across the board, right? Like,
Yeah.
it enriches you in your work, but it also enriches you in your life. Like, it enriches
Oh,
you in
yeah.
your relationships. It enriches you in everything. So
Yeah. I mean, another good example would be like just being in New York City with nothing special going on. Just go into the local little gristides and maybe doing some errands. And in the course of doing something for like an hour, I will come up again, not up against, but I will come into contact with, roughly maybe five different complete cultures from around the world.
oh, more than
So,
that.
well, I'm just in a small little running to the
Yeah,
store.
for sure. It's
I will come up, against people from all corners of the earth, and I can tell you, I never have a bad exchange. It's always like I'm always thinking in my head, people are really nice in this world. Like, I don't know why, you turn on the news and you hear this horrible thing, that horrible thing. Just on a little simple excursion, I'll come back feeling good about the people that I've held the door for, or have waited on me at the checkout line or whatever it is. Like,
Yeah, I feel you. I've always had. I
it
think,
proves the news wrong.
yeah, no. And interestingly, when I came back, you know that guy that we always see who always has the headphones on, or he's on his phone,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
gym sometimes. He's always whatever. We
yeah.
haven't said. We've been living here for years. Haven't said hello to this guy once. Like I see him, I say hello, nothing. But I came in. He was walking the building, and I was walking the building, and I held the door for him, and he said thank you. And I was like, hey, good to see you. I didn't get a comment to that because he had his fucking headphones on, but I broke the ice a little bit, I think.
He
So
actually now at least acknowledges me visually. He'll just like kind of raise his head up.
I don't know what the deal is with this guy. Like he's always on the phone. He's always like some business call, whatever. But he's wearing like shorts and a
He
t-shirt.
seems
This
like
big
he's
old.
really into it, though.
You know what? He could be talking to himself for all we know. Like
Who
there's
knows? He could be running a big corporation too. We
yeah,
all
I'm
you know.
guessing against that. But anyway, all right. Moving on. Moving on. So our next topic of the week is stepping outside your bubble, and what our thinking around that is like looking at what you see from a different perspective and how that helps with creativity and empathy and everything else, which I mean you and I have talked about this, many 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 times about we tend to do what we do and we think that it's the most important thing and that's it and there's nothing else. But when you kind of step outside and see, okay, what is really going on here, or how do other people see this, or how do I learn from looking at it from a different perspective, I think is really, really important.
Yeah, it's also really hard to do that. Like
So, see, now
really.
that's okay. So, that, sorry, I'm not going to cut you off, but I want to touch on that.
Yeah.
So, that's interesting that you say that. And I feel the totally opposite.
But
I have,
you are not the average person.
well,
Let me
that's
tell you.
clear, but thank you. I don't know how, I'm going to say
I
thank
mean,
you.
that is a compliment. I'm not
That's why I said
being
thank you. But
facetious.
yeah, I appreciate that. I've heard that said by other people where it's not a compliment, but that's fine. But it's interesting for me because that's always been my universe to
Yeah.
step outside. I mean, look, even with this guy, that I met today,
Hmm.
like there's a lot of reasons for me to be like, yeah, not, no, don't need this. Don't
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
need
Just
this
someone
pants.
like,
Go south.
oh, I'm a Jew and he's a Muslim, therefore I shouldn't even try. Like a lot
Yeah,
of people think.
I couldn't go there fast enough.
You ran faster.
I did. I ran
Yeah,
faster.
I know you do
No,
that.
I mean I really did. Like I stayed in touch with him.
Yeah.
Like after the first text, I stayed in touch with him. I followed up. We had a meeting recently. There was no particular reason to get together again, but I was like, no,
Yeah.
I want to get to know this guy more. I want to get, I mean, I just, yeah. So, but you're right. I think in your thinking, I mean, what you're right for you, but it's interesting. Like you have a bit of a harder time going there. You think?
Oh, I have a harder time than you because you kind of do it naturally, or maybe you've just cultivated this habit.
No,
For
it
me,
is natural. Yeah.
I have to slow down and I really try to think about how can I look at this differently. And it's usually for something that I'm kind of like maybe having like a hard time trying to figure out. It could be a relationship dynamic. And then I think, well, where are they coming from? And honestly, unless you really have the conversation with the person, it's really hard to know. So a lot of time I'm guessing. There have been people who have been willing to come with me on this and I am open to talking with them to try and learn their perspective. But you can't really do it without talking to them to kind of learn what their perspective is or just taking matters into your own hands. Like, I guess a good example would be like the news, for example. So wherever I am, and if news is on, I mean, I could be at my mother's house because she always has the news on and she's listening to Fox News, or I could be in the gym in New York in our building and they have a bunch of different news channels on, none of which are Fox. So like there you're getting these different perspectives. And it is so fascinating to hear what one entity is saying and what the other entity is saying. So in that way, I am seeing, and also on social media, you can see the way people are are looking at different, have different perspectives about everything. So, it is cultivating an ability to be present and to take it in and to listen to it just to kind of get a sense. But, and some people can't even do that. Some people, as soon as they hear something that is not fully aligned with them, they just shut it down. I am more curious. I
Yeah.
do want to hear how they're thinking about that. So
Yeah.
I am open to listening to it.
Yeah, I definitely think you are, no question. But I get that it's a little bit more work for you than it necessarily is for me.
Yeah, I think it is.
I'd say that as far as like being open to hearing or being open to reading about or being open to watching or listening or whatever, I think you're very, very, very open there. It isn't easy to go outside your bubble, right? Like it's one thing to be open to reading a book that isn't something or going to a website that's not whatever. Like that's one thing. To go in, like remember, I don't know if I told this story or not, but when we went to that tech thing, it was like a Web3 thing we went to, which I went
Yeah.
to, and you were like, "This is so not my place. I'm so out of you." Like you were really a fish out of
I
water.
was I was very uncomfortable.
You were
And I
super.
felt I felt like I shouldn't be there.
You were so uncomfortable, and I was remember being there and like encouraging you and keeping you close and keeping an eye on whatever. And you were one of the most popular people there. And people were like having such a good time talking to you. And I was watching that, and I told you that after I told you, they were like interested in what you were doing and thinking about what they were doing and how they could look because they were forging a new path. Like, and we don't have to get into my opinions of Web3 or anything like that right now, but they were kind of cutting edge, working on something that they felt was going to be something, and they were stepping outside, right? They were jumping into something that they felt was going to help them in their careers and their lives, whatever. This was a thing that was very foreign to you from a technical perspective, from everything else perspective. The people were not, let's say, your people, right? Because they were more techie minded, but you were amazing, and they really loved you, and it was great. And so I think we all have that other fear, right? We have that fear that if we step outside of our bubble physically, people aren't going to like us. We're going to feel weird. We're going to feel nerd, whatever. So, I think it's part of learning.
Yeah.
I think if you go to a space, if you listen to music, if you know, go to an event that is just not one that you would naturally go to, yeah, it can be a little, it can be a little nerve wracking. It could be a little uncomfortable. It could feel weird, whatever. But the end result usually is pretty good.
So I do have something to say that as you were talking, it sparked a thought. That was early on when we were in New York for me, and I had imposter syndrome. I was like, why am I here? These people are brilliant. I don't know what the heck they're talking about. And they're looking at me like, well, what do you contribute to this? And I was scared to death for anyone to hear me, because I just felt so out of place. And that makes me realize that I think sometimes when people, let's use the New York example again, when people, like, we're in New York and when we're here, we're going to as many things as we can go to because that's the whole point of being in New York City. It is taking advantage of all the incredible opportunities to learn that are here endlessly. And so I think maybe some people sound a little put off by the concept of New York because they feel intimidated. I mean, I was intimidated in that event, which is why I felt so uncomfortable, which is why I was afraid, basically, until I did speak, and then I saw the interest in what I actually do, which was very unrelated to what was happening. So I think it's about people just being insecure, and we all can be insecure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that even from when we first, when we got back here, and we were coming here for a while before during COVID and everything else, but when we were actually, living here, having this apartment, um, you were very open to go to the places where you felt comfortable. So you weren't really, you were kind of going, you were going from like a small bubble to a big bubble, but it was the same bubble, right?
Yeah.
Like you
Mhm.
already, fashion was safe for you, art was safe for you, certain things were safe for you. So
Yes.
yes, this is where you wanted to be, but it was just small bubble, big bubble. There's a
Yeah.
difference between going literally outside the bubble into a
Yeah.
world that is just foreign to you. That
Yeah.
that, and I think that is when you really, 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 from being as creatives, that's where you discover the magic. Like that, like walking through the streets of New York, I always just say that. Like if you walk through the streets of New York and you're not inspired, like you don't come up with new ideas, you
You
need
you must be dead.
there's something you gotta reassess. Like you gotta
Yeah.
really reassess. Like I can't get 4 feet out the door and not have some idea about something or remember something or see something that I haven't seen, even though I've walked out the same way every time, 1,000 times, whatever, something new, something different, whatever. So I think when we can really push ourselves to go to a place that's not my comfort zone, really go outside your bubble because you're going to learn from so many different things. You're going to learn from maybe a different culture. You're going to maybe learn from a different just way of doing things. It's inspiring. I think it's so inspiring. I so
Yeah.
admire people that do that.
I agree. I agree. And a really good example of taking the energy and the stimulation of New York City. And so prior to coming back here this past time, I went to all those art things. I must have seen 1,000 pieces of art in the 2 weeks that I was looking at art. And when I got back here, I wanted to paint right away. And the stimulation and the stuff that was in my head from all of that research I was doing previously in New York, I did 5 paintings within 24 to 48 hours. Like, I transformed 5 paint, like, I don't know, that is like astounding to me.
Yeah, that's
You
what I
know,
mean.
and
That's I mean
that
that
is why. Like, it's because of doing that in New York and getting that stimulation. It's like information in my brain, come back, throw it out there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, listen, I feel you. I think that's true. And I think that's why, even when we've talked about, like, do we want to stay here? Should we think about living someplace else? We've got so much on our plate, so many things we want to do. There's something about having boots on the ground here. There's something about, you know, being here and what that does in anything that you do. I mean, if you were to say, like, listen, I want to retire, whatever, we win the lottery or whatever we do, and we're like, okay, we just want to do whatever, I could still listen. I still love a lot of the things about New York, and I don't think I'd want to kind of just totally, totally disconnect from it. But it's just when look where you are in Pennsylvania and where we are in New York City. There are so many people in your town, and they're all like everybody was so nice at that event, right? People that we haven't seen. So, I mean, I don't know half of them, right, or more than half of them. So they may know me because they're like, oh, they've seen when you post and you post my picture or whatever. Like, so they know maybe more. Yeah, I don't know half. Some of them I know. You know how I am. I don't remember people, or whatever, and whatever. That's very rude and obnoxious, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
No, you remember a lot of people.
I know, but I don't remember names and stuff like that. But whatever. But everybody was so nice. Like they were so so nice. So I have nothing bad to say about anybody there. But the amount of people there that are like hungry, let's say, to come to New York, is not that many. Like there's some, but generally speaking, like they're very comfortable in their bubble, and it is a really nice bubble. Like I have nothing. I can't say anything bad about it. The only thing
Yeah,
for me,
no.
it's not bad. It's just, it's not, I don't get the energy from it, but it's lovely. I mean, people are lovely. It's nice. It's, you know what? So it's just,
Well, New York is hard. You know, New
yeah,
York.
but I get that. Listen, I've always said this. New York is tiny, and everybody thinks New York is this big city. Manhattan itself is tiny. It's absolutely tiny. Okay, so I don't need everybody to move here. Don't move here. We're good. Okay, it's good. You want to visit, great, and then go home. Like it's cool, but it doesn't have to be New York, right? It could be Chicago. It could be Alabama. It doesn't matter. It's just someplace outside of your bubble.
Mhm.
I think is the thing I would encourage. Like I just think in general doing that, going someplace that you haven't been, or talking to somebody that is not like you, and not negatives, like not negatives. I mean, I say this to different people all the time, my different groups and friend groups and business groups would be like, don't go having a conversation with someone who is diabolically opposed to you. Like that's a waste of your energy. Like don't
Mhm.
fight with a person who wants to fight. That's pointless. Talk to somebody. Don't talk to somebody who totally agrees with you 100% because that's not interesting. Don't talk to somebody who disagrees with you 100% because that's just not going to go anywhere. But there's all those other people that yes, no, maybe, whatever they go talk to them. And it's the same thing. Go outside of your bubble and go engage with people that are slightly or different. And it's not just what you can learn if you're in the creative world or even if you're in the tech world or business world, you can learn from how they do things, just from a point of having more compassion,
Mhm.
having more empathy for other people because you're going to see a different person, a different group of people, what they've been through, what they think about, how they see the future of the universe. It helps. It helps, I think, in the compassion and empathy area just as much, maybe even not more so, than it does on the creative aspects of it. I think.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
Yay! Great point for Jay.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. All right. Well, on that note, we always said when we were training, and most athletes do this, like always end on a great note. Like if you have a practice session and you lost, like you played against somebody, you just got your ass kicked, like whatever, you cannot leave the court. You have to like get the guy has to feed you a ball, and you've got to hit a winner. Like you've got to do something to leave the court that something was positive. Because if
Oh,
you
I
leave,
like that.
yeah, so if you leave the court on a negative note, that doesn't go away. So being
Yeah,
that I did something that got a woohoo from you,
you got a thumbs up.
we're gonna move on to rapid fire questions. Oh,
You love these.
I love the amazing, you know, transition from the show part of the show to the rapid fire questions that our fabulous producer Faram did. It's
Yay, Farah.
yeah, it was a good one. So props to him on that one. Okay. Am I going to ask first?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. Rapid fire question number one. What's your dream collab?
Ooh, my dream
Could
collab.
be living or dead. It could be just a collab.
My dream. Well, I'm answering this from a place of my artwork. I would love to collaborate with like a really fabulous resort to do like an art project that might become part of their branding with my have some fun today.
Is there a specific one, an actual one, or just
Oh,
that's a general?
no, not a specific one. You know, maybe one of the cool ones in South Beach would be really fun. You know, to do some kind of collab, like like you and I were talking about with
Okay.
you know, using myself as an artist, creating a themed, like basically piece of art of having fun in, you know, the Edition or some cool hotel down there
Okay.
and doing a piece of art with them.
Cool. Okay. Um, one word to describe your week.
Transitional.
Wow. Okay. That's good. Okay. That's good. And socks on or off at home.
Off. I wear my slippers. Okay, Jay, what's your dream collab?
That's a really, really, really hard one. I mean, there's so many different things that come to mind because it would depend on what the collaboration was. Yeah, I know, I know. All right, okay,
This
I
is
know.
rapid fire.
Richard Branson.
Ooh. Can you give a sentence to give that any context?
Yeah, I think. Well, because you told me I had to have one, right?
Eh,
So,
There's
not you
context
told.
with the Branson. Like
No, no, I get it. I wasn't blaming you for that. I'm just saying you. So, because Branson to me is a true entrepreneur, like true in the truest sense, like,
he's very innovative, innovative, innovative.
or he would say innovative.
So that's why I said that word that way because
That's how the
British
British say it.
people say it in a different way, and I've been saying it like that, and I'm like, that's not how I say it. Like,
Because the British speak English and we speak American. So, and I speak New York. But he crosses multiple different areas.
yeah,
Um, I don't think there's anything we wouldn't be able to like talk about. And if I say, "Hey, I want to build this tech thing," he would understand what I'm talking about. And I'm like, "Hey, I want to fly to this planet," he would understand what I'm talking about. If I'm like, you know, whatever music, fat. I would be able to. I would. There isn't anything we couldn't do. So that
yeah.
to have that
Okay.
person as a collaborator would just be like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, we could do
Yeah,
anything.
I get that. I get that. Okay, one word to describe your week.
I mean, verstunkeled.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
You don't need to elaborate
I'm
on
not
that.
going to. I'm not going to.
Okay.
I'm not going to.
Socks on or off at home?
So the correct answer is off, which is interesting because historically it would be on. And when we're in Why Missing, they tend to have to go on because it's an ice box for me. But in the city and in general, they're off because the temperature is manageable. so
Sorry.
so I don't
I'm
get
so
frostbite.
sorry. I mean, I think this whole menopause thing is going to be ending soon.
No, I you
And
don't
it'll
have
be hot all the
no,
time.
no, but hold on. You don't have to apologize. You don't have to
I
apologize. So
know.
let's just touch on that for a second, and then we can wrap up.
Okay.
So again, I grew up in the city. I grew up in apartments my whole life. I did live in a house for a period of time, and the heating situation there was painful, painful. Like I can't stretch the power of the word painful to the cold in that house. Like
Okay. So that was
single
worse than it is with me, huh? Oh,
beyond.
okay.
Like it was just single pane windows. Like it was painful. Stone floors. Like anyway, the difference is here we have the wood floors, which is one thing. The dimensions of the rooms, which we have a nice size. We're very grateful. I'm very grateful. We're very lucky. We don't have a huge apartment. We have a nice apartment. We have a nice size, nice spaced apartment. And but the heat is coming from a steam heat situation. The windows we can open and close rather easily. In the house, it's not that simple. The you need to have circulation. The floors get cold. The air is flowing in that house. It's flowing in a very different way.
Yeah.
So when it gets cold, it's over. Like it's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
So and that is kind of the issue. It's more that. So ideally, I don't want to say I would walk around naked if I could, but I prefer to have less on if I
Yeah.
can. I just prefer that sort of situation. And so being with my feet free, Schweid feet need to be free. Um, you know, that's that's the way it is. So yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing
Anyway,
that.
so I hope you guys are okay with those rapid fire questions. Um, and feel free to come by anytime, and you can keep your socks on or socks off, whatever. We don't discriminate. And yeah, I think that is a wrap. Steph, anything else to?
Yeah, it's a wrap.
So that is a wrap, boys and girls, for this week's episode of Pickles and Pasta with
Steph.
and Jay. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day, week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.